is not just, we are not just speakers on the Catholic speaking circuit. You know, we're not just there to come in, drop this information and leave. No, we want couples to come into relationship with us so we can continue to walk with them through our ministry. So we are not going to leave you. We can get you started on these foundational principles and then move on from there.
I'm on your email list, and so I've noticed that you have some, I don't know if they're seminars or just webinars. There we go. Because we're too hard on the Thursday. I'm going on vacation tomorrow, and we've been cooking and packing for camping for 3 days. About specifically for men and specifically for women, or for boys and for girls. Could you speak to those a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So what we have done is that we've recognized that there's a very sensitive time in the lives of parents and children. This blessed time, there's several sensitive periods, but one is adolescence, right? That is such a huge time in the life of a child and a very, very important time in the life of a parent. And and parents are very stressed out about this. And so again, our ministry is to parents. So we both made up courses to help parents prepare their kids for adolescence and for those big changes that are coming. So Mike has created a course, a 5-session virtual course that he does with dads, just with him and the dads. And I'll let him talk about that in a second. But I do the course that I do is for actually moms and daughters between the ages of really like 9 to 12 is really the sweet spot. And so moms and daughters
that we often talk about.
Yeah, moms and daughters do this course together, and we talk about the changes that are coming in adolescence. We don't do like the talk, birds and the bees, but everything is in a preparation for that. Talking about the beauty of God's design, talking about emotions, talking about their spiritual life. And I've done this course a couple times so far, and it is extremely popular. Moms and daughters love this course. And so they do that course with me for 5 evenings, and they get a workbook and all of materials and all those good things for them to continue to grow in relationship with each other. Because I really want to set mom up as the guide in the life of her child.
And just ever so briefly, the course for dads is called Dads versus Wild, and it's helping dads on this journey of passing on masculinity to their sons. Right? There are things that dads can take and use for all of their kids, but there's a particular challenge that we have in today's world of raising up sons in a world that sometimes can appear anti-male, right? And we want to pass on what true Christian masculinity looks like. And a lot of dads are just struggling with how to do that. And so we walk through the steps of doing that, both in the physical, the virtuous, the character, going on and building up this foundation of leading to how we are drawing our sons into and calling them to embrace what it means to be a Catholic man.
And so Mike also has a workbook and activities with their sons. You get the Dangerous Book for boys, you get a journal. So both of these courses are focused on moms and dads interacting with their child.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just joining us here on Morning Light. We're talking with Mike and Alicia Hernan. They're going to be hosting the Messy Family University. This is Friday, September 23rd, that Friday evening, and then Saturday from, I believe it's 8 to 4 on Saturday, the 24th of September. It all takes place at Holy Apostles out there in Meridian. $50 is the plus some Eventbrite fees, but with that you get fed and you get some materials and of course all this incredible information. On here it talks about, let's talk about those 4 sessions. For those who may have missed it last time we talked with you, these 4 fundamental foundational principles that you're going to help families live out. If you want to just go through each of those 4 real quick.
Sure. So the foundation of Messy Family University are the 4 disciplines of a Catholic family. And this we have come to looking at all the different kinds of families out there. And you may think that, that a Catholic family means
X, Y, or Z.
Exactly. Yeah. Like dad works, mom stays at home full time, and you homeschool all the kids. Okay, that's one way to be a Catholic family, but that is not the only way. There are many, many successful, vibrant, dynamic Catholic families out there. So the first discipline of a Catholic family is I will be the spiritual leader of my home. That is a charge that has been given to us by God, And that is something that we have to take really seriously, because even studies show that is the best way to pass on the faith to our children, is that when we ourselves act as the leaders of our home.
That's right.
It's not the schools, it's not the priests, it's not the youth ministers, it's the parents who pass on the faith. Then the second is I will make my marriage the foundation of my family. Because you didn't become a family when your first child was born. You became a family when you got married. And so no matter where you are at in your marriage, that marriage needs to be the foundation of your home. Whether you have 10 kids, no kids, 25 years married 3 months. Your marriage is the foundation.
And the third principle is that I will be primarily responsible for the formation of our kids. You know, at the end of the day, that's our job, right? We know that, but so many times we want to hit the easy button and delegate that out, whether it be to the schools or to the parish school of religion or all these other places. But we need to know that we have the greatest influence and power in the formation of our kids. And then fourth, I will be intentional about forming our family culture, a dynamic Catholic family culture. What does that look like? A culture that is full of fun and life and joy, but it's also just these deep traditions that we have within our home. They're kind of like pillars and anchors forming our kids. And all of these things are helping us as parents really pass on a deep sense of identity, belonging, and mission for our kids. We're giving parents the tools that sometimes we may do on our own. We may have learned in days gone by, but we want to be more intentional about it, because we go for professional development training for work or for our job. When's the last time we took time and said, for the most important role we have as parents, when have we taken time to kind of go deeper? Again, no matter whether you've got your first kid or you're on your, your kids are in their teens or whatever it might be, right? We all need to grow and become more intentional as parents.
Excellent. If people want to find out more about messy family activities and seminars and all the other things that you do, where do they find out more?
Yeah, so if they could visit us at messyfamilyproject.org, that's where they can listen to our podcast for free, download some guides, whether it be the guide on discipline or screens in your kids, or about these moms and dads courses, obviously, as well as the Boise event that we're really excited about in September.
Well, we still have a couple of minutes, so I want to give you guys maybe each 60 seconds apiece. For those out there who are listening and they're maybe on the fence, why do I need this? Why does my family need it? Why do me and my wife?
It's all day.
Yeah. I mean, why should I give up a Friday night and an entire Saturday to improve my marriage, improve my family? I mean, when we were saying it out loud, it's like, why wouldn't I? But maybe just give one final push. Yeah, to try to get those people off the fence and get signed up. Okay,
well, first of all, because we're awesome and you should come and spend the day with us. That's why, okay?
Touché.
Let's be honest here. No, I'm just kidding. No, the information that we have to give, we are very fun, but the information that we have to give is really important. This is the one line I want you to remember. And this is what Catholic families have to believe. The Catholic family has what the whole world is looking for. If the Catholic family has what the whole world is looking for, there are so many wounded people walking around in our world right now. What are they looking for? They are looking for what Mike was saying before, that identity, belonging, and mission. Where do we get that? Where do children get that? They get it from their families. We have to give that to our children. So many people are so worried about the culture of the world, and we act sometimes very defensively. What we are saying is that, no, we need to be on the offensive. We need to look at our children and say, you know what, guys, I don't care what's happening out there. I don't care what the schools are teaching. I don't care what your friends are saying. This is who you are. I'm going to pour into you. I'm going to pour into our marriage, into our family life, so we can be a beacon of light in the darkness. We have to do it. We have to do it. And we have to take what we are doing as Catholic families very, very seriously. Even in the messiness of diapers and, and what your kids are like, making messes all over the place, driving your teenagers, they're driving you crazy. I know all of that. We get it. We get it. But what we want to open your eyes to see is that what you have in Catholic family life, this is a gem. The world needs us. The world needs Catholic families. The witness and your children need you.
Beautiful.
I don't know if I've got 30 seconds left here, but
I'm sorry, I talked too long.
but I think what I would just sum up and say that too often we as parents are too busy and dealing with the urgent things that are pulling at us all the time.
Yeah.
Shuttling our kids, moving them here and there. And we care so much about our kids that we get caught up in the urgent, and we sometimes lose focus on what is really important. And we need to take time away to say, okay, wait, how many things do we need to be doing? Are we doing all the things that actually have a great impact on our kids? And we'll talk both in story and statistics about what is the power that we have as parents to pass on the faith, the values, so that our kids end up set up for success for the rest of their lives. If they care about their kids, they will take the time to invest in things that are really important. And a weekend like this is something really important for all parents.
Excellent. And you're just an inspiration, Mike, to all those Catholic men that are out there listening today, that we need to get re-engaged, not just in our parishes. It starts at the domestic church. We've got to get re-engaged with our marriage and our family life. So thank you for what you and Alicia do. And we just look forward to having you here in Boise on the 23rd and 24th.
I'm excited. We can't wait to meet you.
Can't wait to be with you guys.
All right.
you.
God bless.
Yeah, we're excited.
Thanks.
Talk to you soon.
God
Bye-bye.
bless you guys. Bye-bye.
Salt and Light Radio serves to evangelize our listening area with the love and hope from our Lord Jesus Christ. Your business has the opportunity to cooperate in this work of salvation by becoming a Beacon of Light sponsor. Support of our programming not only keeps this ministry financially viable, it demonstrates your commitment to our vital mission. To learn more about how your business can become a Beacon of Light, visit saltandlightradio.com or call 208-344-4774. 208-344-4774.
Support for Salt and Light Radio and the upcoming Idaho Catholic Women's Conference comes from gold sponsor St. Alphonsus Health System, providing trauma care services in Boise, Nampa, Ontario, and Baker City. St. Alphonsus has teams of trauma and critical care surgeons ready 24/7 to treat the most critically ill and injured patients. St. Alphonsus, helping others is more than a job. It's a calling. Proud to be a gold sponsor for the Idaho Catholic Women's Conference.
Morning Light News Time is 7:42, 71 degrees in Boise, 67 in Twin Falls. Tens of millions of dollars in state surplus funds were approved Tuesday to begin work.
Because duct tape doesn't last
Wow,
forever.
I really feel safe traveling around Idaho now. The local bridge funds resulted from the state's record $1.9 billion surplus this past fiscal year. The governor's decided the money to the infrastructure improvements as part of his Leading Idaho initiative.
Speaking of that surplus, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the U.S. Department of the Treasury approved an application from Idaho that would offer some Idahoans with insurance through the Affordable Care Act a waiver to increase the affordability of individual health insurance in Idaho. The waiver could offer a 12% reduction in health care costs with particular emphasis on certain serious medical conditions.
Before the high school football season kicks off, Idaho sports writers release their preseason rankings. The media poll selects the top teams to watch this fall based off last year's results, returning talent, and a bit of guesswork. Skyline was
Magic 8 Ball.
Skyline was picked atop the 4A classification with 11 of the 12 first-place votes. Runner-up was Sandpoint, followed by Pocatello and Blackfoot. Bishop Kelly and Skyview tied for 5th in the preseason poll. The Knights' first game is next Friday night, 7 o'clock, right here on Salt and Light Radio.
It's your day. Today's the day before I leave on vacation. Today we celebrate an entire meal. It is National Fajita Day. Wash it down with wine because it is National Pinot Noir Day. And then have dessert because it's National Ice Cream Pie Day. So if you're not wallowing after that, then say I tried. Tomorrow is National Potato Day. It's also International Bow Day. No, not the kind with arrows, but the frilly put one in your hair kind of bow day. Looking toward the weekend, Saturday is National Radio Day. It's also World Honeybee Day. Sunday is Senior Citizens Day and Spumoni Day. So enjoy your day and your weekend. Traffic and weather are next.
Owned and operated by two former Bishop Kelly students, Bluebird Express Car Wash is proud to support Salt and Light Radio with their world-renowned custom equipment and free services such as towels, vacuums, air guns, and mat washers. Your car will shine like never before. 2 locations near Bishop Kelly on Overland Road or at Fairview and Cole, and coming soon to State Street near St. Mary's. For information on locations and unlimited memberships, the website is bluebirdexpress.com.
Good morning, light traffic. Brand new crash for you. 10 Mile Road North. There's a crash just beyond Franklin Road. So 10 Mile Road North at Franklin. It is in the right-hand lane and the right-hand shoulder. So just merge to the left and go around that, or put your GPS on and wiggle worm your way through the neighborhoods, because that's what you may need to do over there. I-84 at Locust Grove. There's a disabled vehicle. It's off on the shoulder. It's just amazing to look at, but go right on by. Your freeway commute looks pretty good. A bit of slowing after the 10 Mile Road interchange through Meridian Road. But once you get to Eagle, things clear up. That's your morning light traffic.
Mostly cloudy today, but still hot across the Treasure Valley with highs near 100. Tomorrow through Sunday, partly cloudy, highs mid to upper 90s, overnight lows around 70. Magic Valley, cloudy today, highs upper 90s, then partly cloudy through the weekend, highs 90 to 95, and overnight lows in the mid-60s. Yesterday's official high at the Boise Airport, 103. And the low was 69. Right now, 67 in Mountain Home at Our Lady of Good Counsel, 66 in Fruitland at Corpus Christi, 63 in Rupert at St. Nicholas. Let's learn more about our saint of the day. When we return, we'll wrap it all up with Chris Foster and Sacred Music.
This is Franciscan Media's Saint of the Day for August 18th. Today we celebrate St. Louis of Toulouse. Though born into a royal family, Louis showed an early interest in the corporal works of mercy. As a child, he took food from the castle to feed the poor. He progressed in his spiritual life and his studies under the tutelage of Franciscan friars. At 20, Louis renounced his royal title and declared his desire to become a priest. Soon after his ordination, he was appointed Bishop of Toulouse, but he asked to become a Franciscan first. The Franciscan spirit pervaded Louis. "Jesus Christ is all my riches. He alone is sufficient for me," he said repeatedly. Like St. Francis, he developed a special love for those afflicted with leprosy. He even assigned a Franciscan to offer him correction in public if necessary, and that friar did his job. Louis' service to his diocese was well received, and in no time he was considered a saint. As bishop, he set aside 75% of his income to feed the poor and maintain churches. Each day he welcomed 25 poor people to share food with him. Louis died in 1297 at age 23 and was canonized 20 years later. There's more about the saints along with inspiration and Catholic resources at our website, saintoftheday.org. From Franciscan Media, this has been Saint of the Day.
7:47, 13 minutes away from 8 o'clock. Chris Foster from St. Mark's Music Ministry joining us in the St.
Good morning.
Next year will be 20 years.
20 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
But St. Mark's, in its current location, has been there
18.
18.
So we've not
So when you
quite-
started, we were still in the old church, which is
Yes.
now the school,
Correct.
which is now school offices after the remodel.
Yes, and
Right.
library. Bit.
Yeah.
It's been a great bit. So, yeah, I wanted to share with our listeners the history of choirs because
Oh, not just the St. Mark's Choir.
Oh, I thought it was just your choir.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
No.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is a general timeline over hundreds and hundreds of
Oh,
years.
wow,
So
okay.
much longer than my 20. So if we take a look at the liturgical celebration of the Mass, the earliest ones, there were no choirs. So, and this is due to the fact that the singing of the entire assembly was considered a special sign of unity. So, in other words, the assembly was the church. But we have to remember that in those earliest celebrations, there were no churches or an organ. Mass was celebrated in homes, so everybody sang. And as this developed, so maybe around the 4th century, groups of singers began to emerge, women and boys. So choirs made up of female voices were very popular in the Greek and Roman religions. And in the Old Testament, we hear Miriam singing with a tambourine in her hand. would be nice to know exactly the tune she sang, but the words were, "Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. Horse and rider he has thrown into the sea." And if that sounds familiar, you've heard that at the Easter Vigil, right? In Exodus 15 in the Psalm. So, but women singing as members of the assembly was gradually becoming opposed, and the boy choirs became started to evolve, and they replaced the women. And so this, unfortunately, contributed to the dissolution of the assembly singing. So the Roman Scola, which I've spoken about before, begun by Pope Gregory around 590, this expanded, although it varied from region to region. And the choirs of this period were often clerics or young boys who would one day be ordained. So because the liturgy was considered primarily an act of the clergy, only male voices were allowed. And so female singers were now prohibited from singing in liturgical choirs until about the 17th century. And so as a result, the choirs were to sing away from the assembly in the loft or the rear of the church, usually where the organ was located. And so this sort of cemented the thinking that the choir was a performing group because they were now separated from everybody else and usually not even seen. So,
Right.
But during the 20th century, some interesting things began to happen. Pope Pius X, in his encyclical, officially banned the participation of women in the choir. These were perceived as a liturgical office of which only men could contribute. But then Pope Pius XII came along in 1955, and he welcomed women back to the choir as long as they were separated from the men, and the choir remained outside of the sanctuary area. So still not great.
So they're outside.
That's
trying
right.
to sing through the
Pretty
window.
much. Can you picture that? So the reforms of the Second Vatican Council restored the choir as part of the assembly, and this lifted the restrictions of anybody who could, belong. So
for all the people who have issues with Vatican II, which most are founded in misinformation, there's a real awakening there.
A bright spot. That's right. So the Constitution of the Sacred Liturgy says members of the choir also exercise a genuine liturgical function. They ought, therefore, to discharge their office with the sincere piety and decorum demanded by so exalted a ministry and rightly expected by them of God's people. So here, the choir is named for the first time as a ministry. So that is awesome. So, yes, the choirs have been through a lot of change and development over the years. The vernacular, the English, replaced the Latin, became commonplace, and then this, too, brought about disintegration of the choirs in many communities. Following the council, there was the trios and ensembles with guitars and tambourines, and this claimed to be the new voice of liturgical music.
Was that something
So-
actually laid out from Vatican II, or was it just an opportunity that people took in the loosening of the
absolutely.
rubrics?
And it kind of went crazy.
Well, it was the
So
60s.
You might have heard guitar masses.
Right.
Because everybody who could do and strum 3 chords could probably get through a very simple hymn on the
True.
guitar. So now we see the traditional choir, it just almost, completely gone. But the last maybe 40 to 50 years, I think that choir is sort of a loose term. I mean, we sometimes refer to that as an ensemble, a children's choir, and yes, an SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, bass choir being considered that. So I think that, or the Scola. So I think now choir can mean some different things. So, but I think our mission has expanded. We don't sing for a passive audience, but as members of the assembly, leading in prayer through music, because there's an important role to be filled in helping the assembly respond in the acclamations, litanies, psalms, hymns. So, but about once a month now, our Scola has been singing a Renaissance piece after communion. And the interesting thing about this is we've had quite a bit of feedback, but also quite a bit from younger parishioners, noticing this sounds different. What was that? What did that mean? It wasn't in English. And I thought this was really interesting because there's an interest and an intrigue as to these classics and this beautiful music of the old church. So this piece we're going to play for you we sang it recently for the installation mass of our new pastor, Father Paul O'Donnell, last Saturday evening. We're singing it again this Sunday at our 11 o'clock mass. So it is by William Byrd, a Renaissance composer, another example of polyphonic singing, which I've sung, no, I've spoken about, not sung about in prior segments. And this is called Lord, Make Me to Know. Again, this is from one of our rehearsals on a phone, but it's pretty good.
Wow, that was beautiful.
I love William Byrd. I really do.
I do too.
Going back to your comment about the choir, basically being performers and not a ministry in itself, in my late teens, early 20s, when I was going to the Presbyterian church, I was actually in the church choir, and we did like contemporary pieces where we were basically performers. Everybody in the congregation was looking at us sing this song that really had nothing to do with the service. It was just something to fill time.
Right.
But so I that's interesting that you had said that, that the music in the liturgy is like the soundtrack for Mass.
Right.
But you need to participate in it. It's not a performance that you're watching. You need to participate.
Exactly. And now, like this piece, for instance, we've done this at the end of the communion procession, and people are praying, and they're sitting quietly. I think it's okay. We don't have to have them participate every single moment.
Right.
I think it's okay to have some internal participation, to close your eyes and think. I think it enhances their prayer through the music. So I think it's okay to have moments like that too, where they're just listening.
Which is what we were doing for 2 minutes. We sat here with our eyes closed and we're just sort of nodding our heads and just enjoying the beauty of that.
Yeah, thank
wow,
you.
great
Thank
job.
You. Thank you so much.
We went to Mass for the Assumption on Monday, and the choir was incredible. The music was beautiful, but there you could tell the moments where everyone participated, particularly because people know the Marian hymns.
Right.
And then the moments where we could, like you were saying, just rest in the Spirit and just let that kind of overflow like a soft blanket.
Yep.
And so I appreciate that balance in between the
Thank
two.
you.
And
Thanks
also
so
the
much.
moments for silence.
Right.
Where because there are some people who say the choir's singing all the time and there's no moments for silence. But there's that beautiful balance of having those moments of quiet.
And
in the
sometimes
midst of
they're a
it.
little tricky to find. If we need a little bit more music, there's still people coming forward. But I always try to find just a couple minutes where we can just be quiet. Think
Indeed.
about what we've heard and what we've participated in. So
Anything else to add before we let you go?
I don't think so. I think that's it.
covered everything.
Perfect timing. Thank you.
Serving as a minister of the Mass, I think whether you're a director or you're a member, it is definitely a tremendous honor and privilege. And I think most of us view it as a way of life, not necessarily as just a service or a profession, because it is a holy way of living, loving, praying, and a way to sing of the presence of Christ in the Mass.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, I know the music's always been one of our favorite parts of going to Mass at St. Mark's, and we welcome Father Paul O'Donnell.
Yes.
And can't wait to meet the new pastor and start getting involved in
Yeah.
St. Mark's
We
once
need
again.
to invite him on the
Yes,
show.
you do.
Yes, we
yes,
do.
You do.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you for all that you do, Chris. Great
You're
to have you
welcome.
back in the studio. And that
Thank you.
is going to wrap up our Thankful Thursday edition. Later today, go to saltandlightradio.com, click the Morning Light page, and hit podcast if you missed any of today's segments or previous programs.
CatholicWomen.com. Thank you to our guests today, Jim and Mary Ellen Nurse, Diana Decker, Mike and Alicia Hernan, and Chris Foster.
How did we get all that into an hour? I don't know. Tomorrow, Casey Elgazabal from St. Vincent de Paul will give us an update on what happened at Summerfest last Friday night. Rebecca M. Carroll, the coaching educator, and another segment of Priscilla's Porch with Busy Shore.
So join Brian tomorrow at 7 a.m.
That's
for
right.
Faithful Friday, and all next week is I'm out of here. St. Maximilian Kolbe.
Pray for St. Louis of Toulouse.
Pray for St. Gabriel the Archangel.
Pray for